second day of the week, Thursday. Got 4 matches ahead of us. Couple fun, exciting games. We're going to be starting off the evening with the Mankato Mavericks, one of the only teams that are still undefeated right now, sitting at 8-0. Big for them, and they're going to be playing against
the Mavericks.
The Mavericks against the Mavericks. It's just a bot game. But they will be playing University of Minnesota Duluth Chicken Chasers. Right now fighting for that contention of third place. Any team that has 5 wins is guaranteed for playoffs right now, 6 wins is guaranteed for playoffs. Chicken Chasers have not picked up that 6th win yet. They are 5-3, so this is really big for them. They want to get at least 1 win so they have that spot secured. But the Mavericks are going to be a difficult opponent for them to play against. So that is going to be our first big game of the evening. Then we have McAllister versus College of St. Scholastica Pupper Dogs. Next up, University of Minnesota, ganked by Gophers, is going to play 2 in a row, first against St. Cloud and then against Winona State. So that's going to be pretty interesting for them. We haven't seen them play 2 games in the same day since, I believe, 2 weeks ago they did that, and they were able to pick up 2 victories again. So maybe they'll be able to do that. Ganked by Gophers again, one of those undefeated teams, almost tied for Mavericks. So if Mavericks win this game, and Ganked by Gophers win their next 2, they're both going to be tied at 9-0 going into their game head-to-head next week, Thursday. That's going to be an exciting match to watch.
Barn burner. But be awesome.
Keep in mind, Chicken Chasers have proven that they can pick up wins against bigger teams, so maybe they can be the upset and take down the Mavericks. And also maybe Ganked by Gophers will lose one of theirs tonight. We don't know. Nothing's set in stone, but just based on standings, this would be incredible if that happened. It'd be reminiscent of last split when we had both Minnesota teams of the Wombats versus Ganked by Gophers being undefeated when they played each other. That was a fun time as well. With all that being said, I want to give a special shout out to Envade Apparel. Thank you so much for sponsoring the stream, helping us put all of this on, as well as all the viewers. That's the reason that we do this. Players, obviously, for competing, giving us the entertainment of the evening. So always support your local collegiate esports scene. And you can do that, of course, by following us on Facebook, Minnesota LCS. You can also follow us on Twitter, as well as myself at MNCSButtkick to get all of your updates on the casting schedule, as well as some upsets. I like to live tweet during some of the games. If you want to follow those. Other than that, we are looking to make Minnesota LCS big. We're trying to grow the production value, especially going into next year, with that being our season 2. We're getting ready to wrap up our first season in the next couple weeks, but we have a lot of ideas of what we want to do next year. So if you're interested in helping out, joining the team, we're absolutely looking to get as many people as possible to get on the production side of things and help us make this big and make this better, not just for the players, but also for the viewers, as well as trying to get a lot more sponsors like Envade. So again, anything you can do to help the stream is greatly appreciated, whether that's live tweeting along with us, advertising us on your own social media, or just word of mouth, trying to tell anybody you know that enjoys League of Legends, check out the stream. With all that being said, now, I am Steve Sir Buttkick Kangas, joined by my fellow caster, finally, Sam Money Trees Duco. I feel like it's been a while, even though it's just been like 1 week. I've been casting a lot with Don, though.
Yeah, Sam Money Trees Duco is back in the house, ready to cast some League of Legends tonight.
The dreamy team is back at it.
This dreamy team?
Dreamy. Me and Don are the dream team, but we're the dreamy team.
Okay.
That's the secret. So that first game of the evening, Chicken Chasers versus Mavericks. Let's talk a little bit about what we expect to see in this matchup. Now, I touched on Mavericks are undefeated, whereas Chicken Chasers are 5-3. Still one of the better records. They're currently in 5th place. What do you expect to be seen when it comes to how Chicken Chasers need to approach this? We saw in the past couple weeks that any team that prioritizes the early game tends to be the ones that get those victories. Do you think Chicken Chasers can do that?
As you're saying, it's going to be very difficult. Mavericks undefeated in this league, but I do agree. I think that really the best strategy in this league has been going for that early game, trying to get ahead early, not let most of the games just don't get to the late stages. Honestly, most of the games are cut off before they can get there. So whoever gets ahead early, able to pick up those early Barons, early Dregs, push their advantages, will be the better team and come out with a win.
Yeah, and that's what I'm interested to see with the Mavericks is if Chicken Chasers can get an early game lead, are the Mavericks going to be one of those teams that they have the communication, they have the player skill that they can draw it out to the late game? Because that seems to be the trend is if there's an early game snowball, the team that's behind just can't really get back. So hopefully we can see a break in that. I'd like to see a longer game. These shorter ones are nice for production side because we got to go home earlier.
Yeah.
But the longer the game, honestly, that can lead to a lot of really fun, exciting moments, specifically once Baron becomes such a highly contested objective. Once you're 40 minutes into the game and you die, that's about a 40 to 50-second death timer. That's a long time to be dead. And if the other team's able to pick up an objective like Baron, that could be the end of the game. So those types of team fights where everything is on the line are really enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, and as you're saying, we really haven't had that many of those. Most of these games getting cut off early, most of these games being won in the early stages. So let's see if we can get one of these games to go to 40, 45 minutes. It'll be an enjoyable cast, an enjoyable viewership.
And we're getting some some chat in the game lobby. Gavin97 really looking to get into the caster seat for this game. I don't know how he's going to do it while playing.
That could be wow.
That would be an interesting one. I would say that'd be a true test of skill. If you can not only entertain through your speaking and your talk, but also through the amazing plays that we know he's going to pull off this game. Shout out to Gavin.
I'd love to see Gavin try.
All right. And now let's take a look at those picks and bans. We're about 5 minutes into the start of this game. So far, only the Chicken Chasers have gotten in here. We're still waiting for Mankato. We're told that they were in a game as a team, but they know that they have 5 minutes, and they know that they can always forfeit whatever game they're in or just try to end it. Hop into this one.
Mavericks are looking to end. They won't forfeit that.
But keep in mind, if they are late and they are 5 minutes late, they will lose one ban. Every 5 minutes after that, they lose another ban. And once 3 bans are lost and they're still late, they will forfeit the match. Hopefully that doesn't happen. We haven't seen it happen yet, this split. So I think that they'll get in here. But talking about that pick and ban, since it might be 5 minutes away, Mankato has done a really good job of adapting to the meta, specifically their top lane. Playing Camille, Darius in the first 2 weeks, those carrier top lanes, then adapted to more of a tank. He played Maokai and Poppy a lot. What do you think that says about Mavericks? Because keep in mind, their top laner, Feels Batman, is a master tier player, the highest ranked player in this tournament right now.
Yeah, he's looked fantastic the entire tournament. Can obviously play a wide variety of things. He does have those carry champions as well as the tanks. Does a good job at staying on meta with things like the Camille, the Maokai, the Poppy, the Renekton, all pretty meta champions right now, all seen success in this league. But also has that Darius pocket pick in his back pocket that he can bring out at any point, and also has looked very good on that champion. So he's very difficult to ban out, very difficult to play against.
Yeah, and then talking about other aspects of their team, their jungler, under 50%, also adapting to the meta a lot, playing a lot of Ivern. Back when Ivern was still popular, and even just last week he pulled one out, but mostly playing Kha'Zix, which is tied with Graves currently. Actually, I think this last Tuesday, Graves just inched out in being ahead of Kha'Zix in pick and ban percentage, but Kha'Zix still one of those highly prioritized junglers, banned out many a time, specifically against Mankato. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that taken off the table, as well as Darius, since most teams just don't want to deal with Feels Batman's Darius. We've seen what he can do with it, and it is not a pretty sight.
Right. And yeah, this jungler, he loves to play Kha'Zix. Also likes to play aggressive, as we can see. Also plays Elise, the Kha'Zix, but can really lay it back with things like the Zac, has nice early ganking pressure, but is much more tanky. And he's played the Ivern twice, so a very different style to that Elise Kha'Zix champion pool.
Yeah, and I love Varus. Second player in this tournament that has a name after that champion. 007 Varus from Pocket Picks comes to mind, and now I love Varus. Played Varus twice, not considered as prioritized in the meta currently. What do you think of the chance of seeing that come out this game?
It is still possible. Varus is still seeing some amount of play in the LCS, and really, like, the 80 carry role as a whole right now is all over the place. You can play so many things. Varus and Jhin are still in the meta. You can play those more utility carries, but you can also play things like Caitlyn, Ezreal, Lucian, Kallista's being played, Twitch is being played. 80 carries in pretty good place right now, and you can really play a wide variety of things, whatever fits with the comp.
Yeah, and keep in mind, Varus has changed in play style a little bit. He's no longer that lethality build because of the nerfs to lethality, instead opting for more of that Blade of the Ruined King into a crit build.
Yeah, it's a very interesting build path. You even see something like Bork into Hurricane into Winsu's Rage Blade, which is pretty unique, pretty creative, but the pros are making it work. I'd be curious to see if I Love Varus would be willing to pull that one out. Seems like something he would like to do, right?
Chicken Chasers are ready to get into this game. They do not want to wait another second. And it seems as if Mankato are going to give them what they want. Now, looking at the ranks of each player, this is actually an incredible matchup. We have 4 diamonds and a plat against 4 diamonds and a master player. Just the individual skill of all of these players is very high comparatively to some of the other teams. So this is one of those matchups this is the one to watch this week. Yeah, this might be the closest match we see.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of high quality players in this game. Probably going to see a lot of high quality League of Legends being played here. And we open up to that Darius ban, which we had mentioned earlier.
You have to take it away from Felix Batman.
Probably going to happen. And then we see the Victor ban.
An answer to Boosted 420 or Bow 0 Stead 420. If you want to be a fan. Actually, it might be a capital OA. It's difficult. But
I'm not sure.
Ivern banned against under 50% instead of the Kazakhs makes me think that maybe they're planning on first picking that Kazakhs away from him, or they're just not afraid. Because then Lulu's banned. Also considered a champion that's strong enough to warrant that first pick.
Yeah, a lot of LCS teams right now picking Lulu first. It's extremely strong in lane, able to protect your carries. It's just very, very good. Does a lot of damage as well, and we have seen their support play it. And then we see the Caitlyn ban coming from.
Yeah, Caitlyn against Gavin97. That is the champion he has played the most so far in Minnesota LCS. So I'm curious what he's going to pull out now. He's played Ezreal as well, things along that line. So maybe he has to adapt a little bit of his own play style for this specific game. And looking at the first pick, nothing's been hovered yet, but what are the prioritized picks right now? Graves is still on the table.
That would be juicy.
Ooh, Kitty Robot locking it in. That is an interesting prioritization on the blue side.
They have played this.
Yes, and Kitty Robot played also a lot of Scion last split, so it's a champion he's comfortable on. Actually, getting a couple bans against it from other teams in week 2 and 6. Okay, but still, is it worth that first pick? Maybe not. They're showing a solo lane and also losing some of that prioritization, but the things that also could be prioritized, such as the Kazakhs and Graves, are still on the table because Karma and Lucian are picked from the side of Mankato. Now we're seeing the Lee Sin Twisted Fate hover here. I'm curious to see if either of those are locked in. Zayax has not played much Lee Sin so far in this tournament, but he was able to pick up a win 2 weeks ago on the champ. So showing that he does have the mechanical prowess. Twisted Fate is locked in for Boosted, typically known for his mages, playing a lot of Ahri, Victor, Syndra, and actually even Echo.
Have not seen him play the Twisted Fate yet, so that is an interesting pick. Another blind pick. Blind picking both of their solo lanes is somewhat interesting here. Maybe somewhat of comfort picks for both players. We saw that their top laner does like to play Scion. He has seen bans for Scion in the past, but this is the first Twisted Fate we've seen, so I'm curious to see how Boosted can play on that.
And also,
maybe going into a Vladimir.
That would be a difficult matchup for sure. But keep in mind, Chicken Chasers are actually picking in their lane, so perhaps these players are just looking to, maybe they weren't planning on trading. Maybe they figured, let's all just pick our own position, something like that. Now as Soraka hovered, Karma top, perhaps? Not quite sure what that shows.
Doubting that this gets like that.
I would like it. I mean, anytime that there's some kind of team comp that doesn't make sense, I'm always for it. but instead it's changed to a Kled last minute. I love Varys just getting our hopes up a bit.
Kled and Ari a little bit less
cheesy, less
cheesy,
hype,
yeah.
definitely.
Yeah,
Although
hype,
Kled,
but Kled is pretty hype.
Yeah, true.
Kled is pretty hype.
When you hear that ultimate coming, you're like, oh god. And there is Gavin hovering the Ezreal. This is something I was gonna say he might play when Caitlyn is not on the table for him anyway. I actually would have liked to see I Love Varys take Ezreal away instead of the Lucian. Yes, Lucian has seen a very large or very strong rise in popularity. He's considered by a lot of AD carries to be back in the meta fully, but Ezreal really never left the meta, and also it's a champion that Gavin97 is comfortable on. So I think that might have been a failed opportunity from the side of Kato, but they also are just saying that they prefer the Lucian over the Ezreal anyway, so maybe they can make this work. Gavin's still hovering it with a Janna support. Now, you and I recently had an experience.
I talk about this lane so often. I feel like
we play against that every day.
I don't know what it is. Oh, they do.
Oh,
that is much more juicy than the Ezreal.
It is
to bring out the Jinx. So this is much more of a hyper scaling carry. Ezreal also scales very well, but Jinx with that passive going to be boosted up after the kills. I'm curious to see how it goes into the Lucian. That is a very interesting lane matchup and one that they opted into with the counter pick.
Yeah, and Janna really good at not necessarily healing up in terms of being able to sustain a lane, but those shields make the sustained in lane very, very strong. Almost impossible to gank that post level 6, but there is a Kled on the enemy team, so that signals that maybe if they can make some fun teleport plays, Kato will actually be able to get on this bot lane. And that's honestly where I think that they should put a lot of their resources. Top lane Sion is going to be difficult to get, but keep in mind, Kitty Robot is the only plat level player in this entire matchup. Everybody else is diamond and then one master. So perhaps Mankato decides he might be the least skilled mechanically on his champion just because of that ranking. Again, ranks don't say everything about a player, but they have correlations to the matchups, and specifically when you're a plat player into a master's level player, that can't feel.
And they did get him on one of his comfort picks here, though. So I think that's kind of what they were going for there, saying like, hey, you may lose lane, maybe if you're on this champion, at least you can hold your lane or maybe win. I mean, I don't know what Kitty Robot's gonna be able to do. Like, it's very possible. If he likes his champion, he obviously likes Sion. They're gonna first pick it. And he's playing into the Kled. He got counter picked by the Masters player. And
what's interesting is both of these players, both these champions, have similar ultimates in terms of being able to roam around the map. So I'm being able to pressure mid as well as Kled. So I would love to see a race, like, hey Kitty Robot, let's race to mid lane, see who gets there first. Farm to level 6, then we'll
forget the outcome of the game. Who wins in a race? Me or Kled?
I think Kled technically is faster. Pretty sure the ultimate moves faster. Sion has to
if he got the karma speed up too, it would just be too much.
That is an interesting interaction that I didn't even notice. The karma Mantra Defiance plus Kled's ultimate is going to make the team very fast at roads.
You're going to be run.
That is not going to feel good as a Jinx. Thank goodness you have that Janna as your support. Monsoon just being able to knock away every other member. And I honestly like the team comp that both of these teams were able to put together. I think they both have very strong positives and a couple of exploitable weaknesses. But if they're able to play around those, I think that each of these teams has something in mind that it's trying to do, and both of them seem fairly similar, except one is focusing on the early game, the other on the late game. Lucian and Karma are trying to win early game in lane, but they also have kind of similar champs in that Karma, if you play her more passive, plays a very similar role to the Janna. I don't expect to see that. I hope that they play more aggressive because that is how you are going to win this lane. And you don't really want Gavin to just be able to free farm. So other than that, though, we're seeing Rek'Sai into the Zac, both very tanky initiation heavy junglers. We see the Kled into the Sion.